Hello, I'm Steve Caldera, and for the last 4.5 years, I've had the pleasure and privilege to serve as President and CEO of the International Franchise Association. As we close out the year, it's a great time to reflect on the increasing public policy challenges we continue to face at both the federal and state levels. And we are also acutely aware that we will have an equally challenging year in 2015. In 2014, we have witnessed firsthand how the overreach of local, state, and federal regulators can impact our industry in multiple ways. First, in 2014, there were 6 state legislatures that attempted to pass laws that would have changed the franchise model so extensively that franchising would not be feasible in those states. We executed intensive, integrated grassroots media and lobbying campaigns led by our franchisee members to stop each and every one of them, including a highly publicized veto in California by Governor Jerry Brown. IFA's success, in large part, can be attributed to our still evolving but increasingly effective Franchise Action Network, or the FAN as we call it. FAN is an initiative to educate, mobilize, and activate franchisees and franchisors to action on critical public policy issues that affect the industry. If you have not already joined, I respectfully urge you to do so and go to franchise.org now. In Seattle, the City Council's new minimum wage law discriminated against franchisees by requiring them to implement the new $15 an hour minimum wage 4 years earlier than small, non-franchise businesses. The City Council made this determination by saying that since franchisees were part of a branded chain, they should be treated like big businesses instead of the local, small businesses that they actually are. This law is clearly unfair, it's discriminatory, and it's a deliberate attempt to achieve a political agenda at the expense of local, small business franchise owners. And if this law is allowed to stand, it would clearly set a very dangerous precedent. So the IFA and 5 Seattle franchisees filed a lawsuit in the U.S. District Court's 9th Circuit in the state of Washington for a preliminary injunction against the new law, which is scheduled to take effect in April 2015. We should hear in the not-too-distant future the results of this common sense request. At the federal level, the National Labor Relations Board has launched a major offensive against the franchise industry, with the cornerstone of their efforts being their attempt to define franchisees and franchisors as joint employers. We are working with members of Congress to press upon the NLRB to reveal their legal reasoning for this determination. We have also organized a broad-based coalition of like-minded organizations and companies to educate lawmakers at the federal and state levels, the media, and the industry about the negative impact that a joint employer designation would have on the franchise model. Another issue that is impacting the franchise industry today is the Affordable Care Act, which is anything but affordable. While we have been successful the past 2 years in having the employer mandate delayed and the 1099 reporting requirements removed from the law, there is still one provision within the law that is changing the way franchise businesses operate, and that is the so-called 30-hour definition of a full-time employee. What we already know from a survey we commissioned with our colleagues at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce is that 50% of franchisees will in fact cut employees' hours, and 41% said that Obamacare will cause them to delay hiring, thereby stunting job creation and much-needed economic output for the U.S. economy. We initiated the development of the More Time for Full-Time Coalition to increase awareness and promote a legislative fix to revert to the more traditional, well-established 40-hour definition of a full-time workweek. Many of these challenges will continue next year, and we will need your support, quite frankly. The IFA Board of Directors has generously provided the financial support to help push back against the regulatory overreach because we are facing formidable opponents, primarily organized labor, and specifically the Service Employees International Union. They are reportedly spending $100 million just on their efforts to increase the minimum wage, and they were a major driver, if not the driver, in the Seattle discriminatory minimum wage increase. They are also supporting efforts in the state legislatures to change the franchise model, as well as the efforts by the NLRB to change the definition of a joint employer, which would have a devastating effect on the franchise model as we currently know it. We can only surmise that they are attacking the franchise model and creating solutions to problems that don't exist simply to make it easier to fill their steadily dwindling membership rosters and financial coffers. And as you may have heard me say before, to get good public policy, you've got to get the politics right. In 2014, we launched a comprehensive effort to leverage our political arm in a way that would significantly impact the kind of pro-business, governable leaders we need to elect. We shifted our strategy to participate in the primary season to help ensure candidates who are in the general election are electable and who will govern with courage and in a bipartisan manner once they are in office. In the 2014 elections, FranPAC, our political action committee, contributed over $1 million to pro-franchise candidates, and we were successful in 23 of the 25 Senate races in which we were active and 100 of the 111 House races. In addition to addressing the workforce and healthcare policies I just discussed, we also need true immigration reform that actually fixes the issue once and for all. We need comprehensive tax reform that fixes both the corporate and individual tax codes to enable job creation, not stifle it. And we need Congress to act on the growing threats of cybersecurity. We have had a great year at the IFA, and we had many historic successes, including all-time highs in membership revenue. Since 2010, our organization's revenue has grown 60%. We will also continue our very aggressive media efforts on broadcast, TV, national radio, print, online, and through all of our digital platforms to defend and promote this great industry. Before I close, I do want to highlight a few other areas that we are also very proud of. I'm happy to report that IFA's Educational Foundation Capital Campaign that we announced in February has already raised over $7 million to support our research, veterans, military spouses, and diversity-related programs, as well as our Franchising Gives Back initiative and our new Millennials project, NextGen. Our popular VetFran program continues to hit milestones. Since 2011, over 200,000 veterans, military spouses, and wounded warriors have found employment in franchise businesses. 50,000 in 2014 alone, and 5,600 have become franchise owners, with more than 400 becoming owners this past year in 2014. Our annual convention continues to break attendance records and revenue records and is a must-attend event for anyone in the franchise business. Our Emerging Franchisor Conference is growing in popularity because it addresses the areas that are most important to growing your franchise systems. And our FranTech Conference continues to provide you the latest information on digital marketing and technology issues. Thanks for taking a few minutes to listen to what we have accomplished together in 2014, and all the best for a great 2015.